Back in the fall of 2019, you all reached out to us for care navigation services. And so I ask you, why care navigation and why then?
My mother was adamant about wanting to stay where she was. She was living at the time in North Carolina, and I am on the West Coast, and she was not coming back. And what how could she safely age in place was what we were aiming for. So we knew what she wanted. She wanted to age in place as best as she could, and as time went on, she knew she wanted to be with hospice. And how was that going to happen when I'm on the West Coast and I couldn't stay there forever? So we looked and we found Four Seasons Care Navigation, and Maureen became my surrogate, a daughter of sorts to my mother, and certainly a sister to me.
Your mom and you reached out to care navigation services. So let's tell us a little bit about your mother. She was really extra special to me, to be very honest.
So mom also has a healthcare background, registered nurse. She actually Air Force officer, and aspired to be a nurse anesthetist. Ended up though raising a family, and had the honor and privilege of being a director of nursing herself in a facility back in Texas. And she spent quite a bit of time in her later years volunteering for hospice. So that's my mother's background. Always her faith was what drove her, and service.
So when I asked your mother what was most important to her, you just responded what it was: her faith, her spirituality. That was the number one most important thing in her life, wasn't it?
Absolutely. And as we were planning, we created an opus. My mother named it. She loved Beethoven. And she actually named it. She says, it's my opus. And this was not many papers, but what a help it was for me being on the West Coast, for Maureen and team to have it. And what it encompassed was, first of all, her bottom line, which was attending to her faith needs was her highest priority. She actually got the Catholic priest to come making regular visits. And so Maureen made sure that these meetings and these appointments weren't happening at 12 noon when mom was watching online mass.
That was very interesting because that was what was most important to her. And that was a privilege to be able to share that forward with the hospice team, to say, colleagues, this is what's most important to Virginia. At 12 noon, 12 to 1, she's going to be watching mass, and people honored that. So it was really special to coordinate that with medical providers, with facility providers, with hospice providers, just to honor her wishes. And it worked for your mother very well. It worked.